Hi, this is Amy with ResidentRockstar.com, and I'm here with Otep at the Marquis Theater.
Yeah.
She's about to do some deadlifts and answer some questions, so this should be some interesting trivia.
Okay.
So we did like a little email interview, and you told me a bunch of really interesting things about yourself that I didn't have a clue about. Like, you played some voices in The Lord of the Rings, you've been nominated. The Hobbit. The Lord of the Rings series, The Hobbit, the newest one that came out.
The last Hobbit movie, I was 6 different creatures.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
6 different creatures.
It was really cool. It was an honor. It was like 50,000 people auditioned, and I was one of the 5 that was chosen. So.
Wow. So have you always been like a Lord of the Rings fan? Is that?
I'm a Tolkien fan. Yeah, I think he's one of the masters of language. Truly, really amazing. I mean, the books are big and they're long, but at the same time, they're the way that he's able to paint pictures with language is just, it's amazing. And I think anybody that wants to be a writer should at least read a chapter or 2 of Tolkien sometime in your life, just so you can see it, like, oh, this is how it was meant to be written, you know. Yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorites. And let's see, what else? You told me a bunch of interesting things, like you've been nominated for some awards recently. Can you tell me more about those?
Well, I also did voiceover work on a PlayStation 3 game called The Last of Us, which is a zombie game, and it won 5 BAFTA awards, including Best Voiceover Work, so BAFTA award winner. But we've also been, I was GLAAD nominated for Most Outstanding Artist up against Lady Gaga. Of course she won because, you know, she's Lady Gaga, but and she's done a lot of great, I'm not a huge fan of her music, but she's done like a lot of great things for like the LGBT community and for soldiers, and she's using her pop star notoriety for some good things, whereas like a lot of them don't even care, they just want the narcissistic, ego trip. And so she's done a lot of great things. Plus we won MTV's Best Music Video with a Message Award, and I can't remember. I think that's all. There might be a few more, but I don't remember them all.
yeah, there's a bunch of them. You've been nominated for a lot of stuff, and you're a pretty amazing woman. I mean, you've been doing this for a while, and I can remember as a kid seeing you at the Aggie Theater when you were just a kid. I think you were a couple years older than me. So I remember seeing you and being like, what is this? This is awesome. And remembering my buddies were there just to boo you because they were idiots. And I thought that was interesting. It made me more interested in you. So, I mean, you've come a long way.
Sure, and we get that kind of a lot. Hold on. They can't even see us doing this.
Yeah. Hi.
We in the beginning it was like that. It was very there was people that would just come out just to kind of heckle the girl in the aggressive music scene, and I didn't care because I was like, well then I bet you can't get up here and do what I do. And I still get that from time to time. People will try to denigrate what I do or what I say or what I stand for within activism or anything. And then my usual response is, well, tell me what you do for a living. Because it's real easy for somebody to go on the internet and criticize what I do for a living because mine's out in the open. Well, how about I come to your job and critique what you do for a living, whether or not it's like, you're a coder, you're sweeping floors or, whatever. It's just not, I think you put yourself in an awkward position when you do live your life in the public eye. Mine's a little bit more private than most, and I appreciate that way, but I think we've won a lot more hearts and minds now, because in the beginning it was a very male-dominated genre. If there were girls in the audience, they were either there just out of curiosity, or they were there with their boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. But now we see like the whole front row is usually all women, and that's like the top. Even the pit is like really rough, but the front row is like the roughest part because they're getting killed from the back, getting smashed against the stage, and they stay there the whole night. But we're also seeing a lot more women, take the mic and become writers, and I'm real proud of that, because I was the first woman on Ozfest. I was discovered by Sharon Osbourne herself on our 4th show ever. We got signed without a demo to Capitol Records. We only had 6 songs written. Our 8th show as a band was in front of 25,000 people on Ozfest, and we were direct support for Mudvayne back when Mudvayne was like monsters,
Yeah.
So it was a skyrocket. I mean, we just were like, we had 3,000 tons of jet fuel behind us, and it just launched us, you know.
Right.
But you know, it's nice now because I think we earning the respect that we deserve for who we are, what we stand for, and the music we play. And you know, I got the band that I've always wanted, the band I've been waiting for over a decade of being in this business. I've got the band that I've always wanted to play with, from Justin to Big Aristotle to Corey on bass. I mean, it's just they're all masters of their craft, and they're all in it for the right reasons. And it feels like, you know, this is what I've always wanted, and it's the people I've always wanted to make music with.
That's awesome to hear. And I mean, I wanted to point out that, you know, you've come all this way, and I asked you a few questions in our email interview that I made a point to ask because you probably get asked them a lot, like what does Art Saves mean to you, and advice and things like that. And your statements have always remained the same since the beginning of your career, and I think that that's in itself an amazing accomplishment. And I don't know, I always like to talk some more about that and let people know, you know, what that stuff is about.
Well, I mean, without art, I don't know where I'd be. I mean, it's changed my life in many ways. I never thought I'd be here doing deadlifts and talking to you and being filmed by you and being watched by them. I never thought I'd have people name their children after me. And as far as I knew, I was the only Otep in the world. And now there's other ones.
Yeah.
It makes me a little bit upset because I was unique in that way. But you know, it's just I think that everybody has a bit of an artist in them, and I think that it's very important that they allow that artist out of them, because it helps you navigate and narrate your life in a way that, you know, you can separate yourself from the emotions of it and really go to the core of what's going on. So I'm gonna do some quick dads over
Do
here.
it.
And you can keep asking me questions if you like.
For sure, when I watch
I'll run an answer or two while I'm doing it.
It's awesome.
Here,
So how long have you been doing the deadlifting?
You started me on this, what, like 2 years ago?
Shoot, it was 2012, I think.
2012?
Yeah.
Okay.
2012 we started.
So almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was quite fast.
Yeah, I did. I remember the first time that I ever did it. He put on like 90 pounds.
Yep.
My legs shook like crazy. I was like, what is this? I've never done deadlifts before. And I used to lift it like a lot, but never like these kind of lifts. I mean, look at this guy.
I still have the
Good
video.
guy.
I still have the video.
Oh, do you? Black
That
man.
first time. I think it's
Black man.
maybe one of the first times.
I tell you, I brought one of those weights down here, and I was like, I need Ari to come train me.
Yeah. Excellent. 2, 3. 1.
It's 185.
Yep.
Wow.
Grip feels fine, right?
Looks good, yeah.
Well, you look great. I mean,
Oh, thank
it
you.
definitely is. You're taking care of your body, and it shows.
We told him it's behind the scenes. We got to give him all behind the scenes.
Right? Her lovely assistant, Russ.
Yeah. Get some coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my indie band. We're gonna do a solo project called Coffee and Deadlifts.
Coffee and deadlifts.
We're gonna be all hipsters.
Is it going to be acoustic?
Oh no. Well, maybe. We'll have like a guy with an acoustic guitar, but we'll only have one string.
So, what advice?
This belt I'm wearing, you guys. Look at
It's
that.
pretty awesome, actually.
Thank you.
You're going to start a new trend right now.
I know.
So, I mean, what advice would you have for a young woman that's starting out and maybe in the music business that, you know, wants to be a front woman for a band? I see you have a lot of female-fronted bands open for you. So, what advice would you have?
I would tell them that to not worry about the gender part, which is what I get. Oh, you know, in the beginning it was like, oh, you scream good for a girl. It's like, no, man, I scream good for a human being, you know, or you know, your lyrics are pretty good for a girl. I was like, I don't believe that. I think that my lyrics are pretty good for a writer. I would stay focused. I would try not to use sex appeal to sell your records. I know that that's quite common these days with a lot of female-fronted bands, but I think that takes away from the message. It takes away from, you know, of who we're trying to be as women, as leaders, and I think that you also, you know, don't be afraid to to pour yourself into your music, and just in general to all bands. Like when you step in your rehearsal room, unless you're just doing it to jam at practice, which is not the right terminology if you're really taking this seriously. You're going there to rehearse at rehearsals. So you play your rehearsals just like you're playing a live show. You go in thinking that there's people in front of you. Imagine that. Whether it's 500, 5,000, doesn't matter. You go in there to play like you're playing a show. And you take it seriously. It's not a time to drink and get drunk or whatever. This is a time to hone your craft, just like a painter does, just like anybody else does. It's time for you to hone your craft. Let's watch Ari kill this.
Let's do it. Yeah, that's some really solid advice there. And from the beginning, you've been real solid about being a hard worker and taking things very seriously, and you're known to run a tight ship. But you're also like one of the most caring people I've ever come across in the music business, as far as your animal rights activism and gay and lesbian right activism and all, human rights. I mean, all of it. You have a voice that's being heard.
Thank you.
And
I think the easiest thing that you can do is be kind, and or sometimes it's the most difficult thing you can do is be kind. And I think that shows strength over. Especially when you're up against people that don't maybe deserve that kindness. So the strongest thing that you can do is to be compassionate. And I think that's something we should teach the parents who teach their children, that we should learn ourselves, is compassion for someone else. Apathy used to be really hip, but I think we're entering into a world now where we're also integrated through social media and through technology, that we can actually understand people that live in another country with their different cultures, but yet we're still all very similar in our core. So, but as far as animals I think are it's the easiest way to do any sort of advocacy, because they're innocent and they love you unconditionally, and nothing deserves to be mistreated. And that's why I became a vegetarian, because it wasn't because I didn't love meat. I used to love bacon on bacon. I used to love bacon. Boy, did I love bacon. And I still, there are days where I still miss bacon, but I'll tell you, nothing tastes as good as what it deserves. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this, but I saw a PETA video, an undercover PETA video of a pig farm, and where they're making pork out of these pigs, and the sows are separated from their piglets, and their piglets are screaming for the mother. The mother can't even stand because the pen is so small. They're in their own filth, and when they try to pull the pigs away and the piglets turn around and bite them, they start kicking them and beating them with rods, and it's like, and this is like some giant corporation that owns all these poor little animals who are sentient beings. They understand pain, they understand joy, they understand love. They're trying to protect their kids, and nobody deserves that. So I'm not going to make some jackass rich. I'm not going to give $1 so they can buy a bigger yacht, so they can run off to St. Bart's or wherever, and off of cruelty and torture over an innocent being that does not understand that it was born for one reason. It was born and bred to be food for us, where we eat it, digest it, and shit it out. And that's the quality of life for this beautiful animal. Why do we deserve to do that? Especially now when we have science that can make us, that's given us alternatives to meat, that has given us alternatives that are healthier for our bodies. And if you're gonna eat meat, then please seek out local farmers, so treat their animals well. I still hope you would give that up, because again, why do we deserve, as humans, who gave us that right? Because they're weaker than us, and that means that if I'm stronger than you, then that gives me the right to take something that I feel like belongs to me. I mean, that's not the right way to think of it. If we're the gardeners of the garden, and we're supposed to take care of all of us. Each and every one of us is supposed to take care of these animals. And so it wasn't easy. Like, people say, well, what do you eat then? I was like, well, what do you eat? Do you just eat like a meat on top of meat? I mean, just don't eat the meat. And there's plenty of products now. There's a lot of Morningstar products are great. You can find those at Walmart now. I mean, they're so popular. But you can also find there's vegan, vegetarian cafes. There's vegan, vegetarian options almost at every place you go.
And Marquis Pizza here has a vegan pizza.
Look at that. See, right here in Denver.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marquis. Fantastic. But I think it's just important. I think, you know what, somebody's got to stand up for them. And if you don't care about, livestock rights, then you should care about puppy mills and the way that these poor animals are treated. When you see those Humane Society commercials and the way these poor little dogs and cats are treated, I mean, somebody's got to be their voice, and it should be us, because why not?
Very well said.
I got to get back to work over here. So you keep asking me.
Get your workout done. I'm definitely going to ask you some questions about your tour, and you guys are working on a new album, correct?
Are we working on a new record?
I think so.
I think we are, yeah.
Can you tell me anything about the new record?
It's badass.
That's an understatement.
I think if we, at this point, we're just letting the music flow out of us, whatever it comes, and that's where I think that's the purest place for it to come. It just kind of flows out of you. I kind of know what I want the record to be, in general, just as an idea of the album, but we're just kind of letting the music flow from us, and that's, I think, the purest place for it to be. Because when we try to control it and manipulate it so that we think, oh, this is what people want to hear from us, then it doesn't sound authentic. It doesn't sound genuine.
Yeah, people want to hear your voice, right?
Yeah, well, they want to hear something that sounds real, like it's coming out of our soul, and that's the only reason why. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're happily not on a label right now. We are free of any suit putting their thumb on us and telling us what we have to write, what we have to say, what we have to do. Right now, we're libertines. We're free spirits. We can do whatever the fuck we want, and we love that.
That's awesome. I think I see a lot of bands go in that direction.
Well, it's an archaic. It's a very archaic system.
Nice. Easy. Good job. Bam.
225.
Damn.
225.
You do not want to mess with this chick.
Alright.
That's crazy. I think I can maybe do that with my legs. That's probably it. Not with my arms.
One of the best overall workouts you can do is deadlifts. So the record, I think, for me, we did a last album. I'm very proud of it. Aristotle and I wrote a lot of those songs. Unfortunately, for whatever reasons that I won't go into, it didn't get a lot of exposure. Not because of us, but the record didn't get the exposure that I think it deserved. The one song that did was Apex Predator, and it's become like a fan favorite. And we've never had a single ever that's exploded like that one. None. Like Confrontation was our first big single off of the Ascension, and it took like months for fans to like grab onto it and get it. Apex Predator, boom, right away. First tour we did with Apex, everybody was on it. Like every single body was on it. So, but that was a concept record, and it was written about one of the books that I've been writing for like 2 years, called None Shall Sleep, about this serial killer called Hydra. And so, when I started writing the songs, I realized that a lot of what was being said and what was being created was actually coming from that shadow mind where she was living. And so I kind of went into that space. I listened to a lot of like serial killer confessionals. I listened to like Ted Bundy's final confessions when he was talking to his lawyers, and it really put me in a dark place. But I really needed to kind of, I don't know, some people call that method acting or something, but for me, I just needed to know what that felt like, because I don't have that part of me.
Right.
I don't. Unless it's like, a serial killer, then I could do that to you. But like to just systematically hurt anybody just because I want what they have, I don't have that in me. So that was more of a concept record, and I don't know. This album to me, if I was gonna grab like I don't know, references or what I think it reminds me of. It reminds me of Seventh Straw, The Ascension, and House of Secrets.
Nice.
That's what it reminds me of a lot. And I think those are like the albums that I love and the fans love, and so we're really gonna, we're just not trying to make it sound like that, but that's just what it kind of comes from. And you know, Big Aristotle over here, he's really, you know, focused on making sure that the core of what we sounded like when we began is still there, and I'm very happy with that, because I don't have to explain that to anybody to like a musician. We just lock in telekinetically and we know that, but at the same time we also want to like, we want to branch out and explore where we are now also as musicians and what we've learned over the years, and what inspires us now. So we're really excited about that too. So look at all that goddamn weight.
You need to do some more weight.
Look at this.
You need to get back to work.
Look at this.
Might steal a belt from here for this one.
Okay, that is a lot of fucking weight.
This is the
These are
higher
big
reps.
ones? All right, hold
They're
on.
just higher reps, so that's more. It makes me wheeze. I took my stuff.
Take your stuff.
I have a exercise-induced asthma.
Oh,
I didn't know.
my son has that.
Really?
He's really athletic. He's a varsity swimmer, and he got it too.
You've just given away your kryptonite.
Yeah.
It could have something to do with the altitude up here, though.
This is not going to help. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I took it like an inhaler thing.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see if that helps a little. But yeah, these things in particular, they're just so. They're still exhausting.
I'm definitely excited to hear your new album when it comes out, and you guys are just starting this tour, the Art of Fury tour, correct?
That's right. Yeah, this is our third show.
Third show?
Third show. The Art of Fury tour. Yeah.
So you've been in Arizona, Colorado Springs, and now you're in Denver.
Yeah.
Where are you going next? Do you know? Do you remember?
No.
I could look it up.
Oh, we have a day off tomorrow, and then we're headed to his home state of Iowa.
Nice.
Yeah, which is really cool because we get a lot of good love in Iowa. We like playing there. Plus, our manager is Sid from Slipknot. He's from Iowa, so
Awesome.
you know, yeah. So it's like it's going home. It's our second home, really.
Yeah, you were telling me that you changed management too. So you know you're managed by Sid, and what's going on with that? How's that going for you?
Oh, it's going. I mean, it's going great. You know, whenever you change administration, which I you know, especially when I'm telling like other bands, you know, it's good to change your administration like every 2 years or so. I think, or at least threaten to, because you want to make sure that they're staying focused. You know, and that they still understand who you are, what you're all about, and what the goal is, and you know, and typically that's what I've pretty much done. I mean, I've been with, you know, booking agents before for long periods of time, decades at a time, decade at a time, off and on, and then but managers, you know, it's really hard to find good managers, and that's just true. I'll tell you, if there's any manager that tells you to pay them up front, like if you're a local band or something, you can just tell them to fuck right off, because that's bullshit. Don't ever pay a manager. They're supposed to work for you. They get you opportunities. That's their job, is to bring you opportunities as a band. Your job as an artist is just to be as pure and focused and do your job the best to your abilities. And yeah, so working with them has been great. We did Knotfest. We were on, there was like a mix-up in what stage we were supposed to play on, so we ended up playing on like the local band stage, and we were like a little bummed about that because it was too late to change everything over. So, but it just, as soon as like they heard Otep chanting, like 25,000 people ran over from like the main stages onto the local stage, and it just went. There's video of it. You can see it. It just went as far back all the way to up a hill into the carnival section, and it was just this most amazing thing to see all that ocean of people in front of us just going, just, you know, bananas.
That had to make you feel good.
Really good. Yeah. I mean, it's you know, there's a little bit of something impersonal about playing in front of that many people. It's amazing. There's an energy to it that's different, but that's why I usually, like, I'll climb down, I'll get in the crowd, I'll crowd surf. I just want to feel it, you know, want to be right next to it. And then there's places when we play like this, which is really small, really intimate, and you don't have to do anything. The crowd's energy is just right in your face, and you can feel it, and it just sets everything off. Okay, let's watch old big boy here. Atlas.
Thinking that.
launching this from the ground. He's gonna lift the earth with him.
A lot of times.
Just don't shake the camera.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
Nice.
You see, and that's how it is being in the band with this guy. It's like, it's just inspiring, you know.
You guys definitely are inspiring. I mean,
He's like my brother. I mean, he really is. You know?
you guys have been together in a band for a long time.
A long time, and people kind of forget that now. That I mean, he and I have been playing together. Come on, boy. Yeah. Woo. Look at that.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we started when? 2011. I mean, we've been playing together for 4 years now. And I know, but that's almost longer than I played with anybody else. And you know, the synergy that exists between he and I and Corey and Justin is just, again, like it's really nothing like I've ever felt before. You know, there's not a bad egg among us. We're all focused on one thing, and that's writing good music, playing good music, and giving the fans everything that they deserve. And everyone's in it for the right reasons. You know, that's what makes. You know, for me, it wasn't ever about like getting, you know, bitches, booze, all that stuff. It wasn't even about that. It wasn't about groupies or my ego or anything. It was about making art. You know, because for me, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was like a street poet. I was like a graffiti artist, a tagger and stuff. I was getting in trouble all over Los Angeles. Music just kind of happened. So I just went with it. Like, why not, you know? I was either going to be a pugilist, or I don't know, go to jail, or be a singer in a band. And I thought, well, I'll probably sing in a band. I like my nose very much. I can still fight if I want to. There's plenty of people out there that'll want to pick on me for like a second. They'll pick on me once.
One time.
Once, and then. I don't know. It's been really marvelous to be around these guys, and they inspire me, and I feel like I inspire them, and we challenge each other as well. You know, just artistically, and that's something that I feel like is important to be in a band, is to be able to be vulnerable enough to listen to someone else, and hopefully they listen to you as well. And you know, to open yourself up, to be challenged, to be inspired, so that there's no ego involved. Like, well, I wrote that part, or you know, this is getting in the way of my part. Like that used to drive me insane with other band members in the past. It's like, no, man, it's not about you though. It's about the song. You know, it's about the message. And so now what we've got is you know, these great guys who are really just like, you're right. This is better, you know, or I'll be like, you know what, you're right, this is better. So it's really remarkable to be where we are right now, and we're in a great position. Like I said, we don't have a label. We got some offers coming in. I don't know if I want to get back into that world or not. It's really hard. If we find the right people, maybe. We just have to figure out how we would disseminate the music, and there's a lot of ways to do it, but there are the industry's making it harder and harder for independent artists to do that now. So if we find the right home, we find the right people to be with, and they want to be in the Otep business, which is the phrase that they like to throw around a lot, then you know, they got to prove it. They got to step up to the plate and know who we are, know what we are, what we stand for, how much our fans mean to us, and you know, be partners with us in what we're trying to do, bringing about the revolution.
That's very well said, and I think you hit the nail on the head there with the fans. We told some of the fans that we were going to come interview you today, just in our local area down here. We got a huge response. People are crazy about it, and they wanted me to let you know just how much you do inspire them and how many people that you have touched and helped. So, you know, from your fans to you.
Thank you. That, you know, I grew up in a very isolated. One of my parents was extremely violent, and I was the only artist in the family, so I never knew kinship with anybody. You know, my mother, she was great. She loved me. She tried to understand it as best she could. She's a scholar. She's really, really smart. She's like she's an the history buff. She's like an archaeology scholar. Like she knows history. That's why she named me Otep. But nobody knew art, and so I felt very isolated, very alone as a child. And I think that's the one thing that people can't get past sometimes. Like they can handle anything but being alone, feeling isolated, not feeling like they belong anywhere. And I always felt like if I could ever make a difference in anybody's life, I would never want anybody to feel hopeless or alone. And so when I had the opportunity to have a band, to have people that are supporters who believed in our music, I believe that I wanted them to know that like you can come online and you can find other people that believe the way you do, that feel the way that you do, that have similar experiences, and even if they don't, they're gonna be there for you. And one of the greatest things that I've ever seen is like we'll have somebody come in who's in their darkest moments, and maybe they're considering giving up and taking their own life, and they've said it, and you'll see the whole tribe rally around them. And then somebody else, a week later or so, someone else new will come in, same place. They want to give up, they want to give up, they want to give up, they want to take their own life. And that person that was just the week before was willing to take their life, now they're helping them. They're pulling them up out of darkness. And that was what the most amazing part about being in this band and being a part of the Otep tribe means to me, is being able to help, is being able to unite these people from all across the world, that you are not alone, you will never be alone, because you always have the Otep tribe.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you for your time. I think that's all the questions I have for you.
Thank you very much.
And I'd love to watch you lift some more weights if you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, we're going to.
Otep! 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 Otep!